Okay, in regards to time, we're going to go ahead and get started. So hi, everyone. Welcome. I want to welcome you to today's webinar, which is Surety Bond, a hidden gem for agents. So in today's webinar, we are going to explore why surety bonds are a must, what has kept agents out of the market historically, and then what tools that you can use to make surety even more efficient and profitable. My name is Taylor Conley. I work here at Bond Exchange in business development and agency enrollments. And then with me today, I also have Mr. Tim Rotundi. Tim, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Taylor. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in today. My name is Tim Rotundi, and I'm the head of marketing at Bond Exchange. Essentially, what I do is plan and execute Bond Exchange's marketing strategy, which involves promoting our platform's features to agents and laying out how they can profitably write surety bonds.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I know, Tim, you're very busy, so we are very excited to have you here today. You'll also see on our panel, we have Benton. He's an underwriter here, so he is just going to be here to answer any questions that we have in the end. So not going to hear a whole lot from him, but make sure to get in those underwriting questions because we can definitely answer them. So with that being said, I want to explain a little bit about what my role is here at Bond Exchange. Like I said, I work in agency enrollments. So I talk to literally every single agent that signs up with us. I tend to have the same conversations. So either I am talking to an agent who normally works with 1 to 2 carriers, and suddenly they have a hard to write bond and they come to us, or those carriers are just being a little bit slow and they need something quickly. The other agent that I talk to pretty often is somebody who has really never dove into surety bonds. They've never had to deal with it before. So they're really starting from scratch. For that reason, we wanted to put together a really quick presentation to discuss why surety bonds, when done properly, really are a hidden gem for agents. So let's dive in. All right, why are surety bonds a hidden gem? So for the first point, they really create more value for your existing client base. You all have a current book of business. If every single one of those insureds came to you and needed a bond, first of all, that'd be a great amount of business. I'd be really excited for you. But if you couldn't offer them one, they're going to go somewhere else to another agent. How soon would it be before that agent is now trying to sell them additional lines of business? So you really want to be their go-to for everything, able to offer them everything that you can. Surety bonds really are an additional tool in your belt. Surety bonds are also going to introduce you to new clients. So on the other side of that coin, if another agent can't do bonds and somebody finds you because of that, because you're suddenly marketing to the surety market, now you're going to have a brand new principal in your book of business. That leads us to cross-selling opportunities. Every single one on this call is going to cross-sell to their book. So do you want to keep your clients in your book and offer as much as possible? Or do you want to risk them ending up in a surety agent's book of business and risking those additional lines?
Yeah, Taylor, I completely agree with everything you just said. And what I can add is that oftentimes insureds in need of a surety bond will also need other more standard lines of business. So let's take, for example, a contractor in need of a contractor's license bond who will oftentimes be required to purchase liability insurance as a prerequisite to obtaining a business license. So that insurance is needed in conjunction with a surety bond. So let's put ourselves in that contractor's shoes. Are they going to purchase a surety bond from one agent and then liability insurance from another? Probably not. They're going to try and keep things as simple as possible by using the same agent, and they're likely going to keep going to that agent for their coverage going forward. So, and this brings us into our next point, that surety bonds create sticky relationships between agents and their clients. So certain surety bonds, usually those with limits of $50,000 or higher, require insureds to disclose sensitive documents like their business and personal financial statements. Now, nobody likes disclosing this information. Me, I don't want to have to go give my net worth and business net worth to, a plethora of people. So, and as such, insureds are unlikely to jump ship to a new agent after providing this information, and thus a sticky relationship is formed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that insight, Tim. But I do have a question. If surety bonds are so amazing, why aren't all agents putting a focus on it?
Right. So, like we just said, all of that sounds really great. But why do a lot of agents get a queasy feeling in their stomach at the mention of surety bonds? Let's take a look. So, to provide a little bit of context, surety bonds account for over $13 billion in premium each year, but they only make up a small portion of many carriers' books. As such, most carriers have neglected to automate the quoting and issuing process for surety bonds, leading to agents having to submit annoying paper applications. And our next 2 points really touch on the time agents have to spend shopping quotes. So, as agents, you want to provide the best rate possible to your clients. For surety, what this often looks like is having to submit multiple paper applications to multiple different carriers, leading to agents such as yourselves having to spend exorbitant amounts of time shopping quotes and corresponding back and forth with underwriters. So this can lead to surety becoming an unprofitable product line, as agents end up spending hours or even days shopping quotes for a product that's generating, I don't know, let's say $100 in premium. Now, that's certainly not to say that surety bonds don't generate large premiums, because they certainly can. But for bonds that don't, it's simply not a good use of your time to spend hours or days for a relatively small commission. And lastly, yes, we all know it. Surety bonds can be confusing. I know that's probably one of the major reasons why a lot of you on this webinar. I've been at Bond Exchange for a little over 3 years now, and I still learn something new about surety every single day. What we oftentimes will see with agents is that they don't even want to bother dealing with this product because it's very far removed from their areas of expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Tim. I know that those pain points really are often the reality for many agents right now when they're first entering the surety bond market. So, how do we avoid these issues and make surety your profitable hidden gem? I would say, coming from my background before being here at Bond Exchange, I know Tim has been here for a while, but my background is sales. So, this shouldn't be super surprising, but I'm going to we're recommending outsourcing. All right. So I think the solution we are going to offer you guys is partnering with a third party wholesale broker who can eliminate the barriers that we just talked about. You can go ahead and spend time creating your own surety system from scratch, or you can find a partner who can take all of that off of your plate. And wholesale only partners are not competing with you for the same business. So when you win, they win. It's really the perfect
Right.
partner. We're
And Taylor, what I'd
constantly,
also
oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry, what I'd also add there is that it's not just the time that you have to spend creating a new surety platform, it's the money. At Bond
Fair.
Exchange, we spend exorbitant amounts of money, building the best surety bond platform as possible for, that we can for agents. So, I mean, unless you want to spend that time and money doing it yourself, it really is better to partner with a wholesale only broker. And plus, if the broker is wholesale only, then they won't compete with you for the same business.
Absolutely. So in our conversations, we're talking to agents on the phone, we're going to conferences, we're hearing a couple of things. Surety is not profitable. Surety is confusing and surety takes way too much time. So these are the things we want you to evaluate when you're looking at potential partners. So the first one we want to talk about is technology. Technology is important here. You don't want to be left behind. So you need to look for a technology platform that is made to make surety fast and efficient. You want something really quick and seamless. So we see carriers creating instant online quotes for other areas of insurance. I see a lot of renters insurance, auto insurance that you can get an instant quote for online. We also know insureds want things done very quickly. I will say probably immediately. You know your clients. So you need to find a partner who has the technology to meet your needs to stay competitive in the market. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples of how technology can change your surety game completely. I'm working with what's available to me. So the best example I could find is Easy App. It's actually a tool available to bond exchange agents. So this is going to allow you to start a bond application immediately. So we're going to take a look at that right now. All right, so you would see right here, this is Easy App. When we want to start an application, we can do so right here. I am in North Carolina. It figured that out. So we're going to go ahead and say yes. And don't worry, I'm not going to walk you through an entire application. Just want to show you how simple and intuitive this technology and this platform can be. So I have an idea of the bond. Let's say, okay, perfect. So I'm looking for a motor vehicle dealer bond. Yes, that is what I'm looking for. So this right here is really the most important thing that we want to show you from this. You have the ability to send this application directly to your client now. They're going to be able to sign it, purchase it online. So you simply will put in their name and email address and get that sent over. And that way you're not having to, again, fill out a paper application. You're just sending them an online link and it's getting done immediately.
Right. So I completely agree with that, Taylor. And the advice that I would give to, everyone watching as well is when you're evaluating, which partners to use, make sure you ask them, during the onboarding process, is your application customized for hard to place risks, like for probate bonds, contract bonds, SBA bonds? Is it going to be that, they ask you to submit general information on an online application, then they send you a paper application that you have to submit after the fact for that ancillary information. Because no one wants paper applications, so it's important to ask whether or not it's customized for hard to place risks. Like at Bond Exchange, we have custom apps for probate, contract, and SBA bonds. You can complete it all online, send it to your customers, not have to deal with filling out a paper application, scanning that, sending it back, because no one has time for that these days.
I mean, I don't even have a printer. So if somebody needed me to scan something, we'd be in trouble. So we want to show you another example of how technology can make a massive impact when it comes to your surety business. So we're going to take a look at an actual agent's website. So this is Trey Steiner. He is a real agent. This is his website. We want to look at this widget here on his page. So we notice when we go to a lot of agents' page and it's surety bond and it says get a quote, it's really then taking you to a form to fill out your name, your contact information, leave a note about the type of bond that you need, and then somebody will get back to you. And we talk to you all the time. We understand that agents are extremely busy. So when you will have time to get back to them and then start looking into the bond process, who knows? So on Trey's website, he has gone ahead and put in this widget. It says, click to get a quote now. So when Trey says get a quote now, he means now. He is not messing around with sending you information, asking you questions, going back and forth. He's getting you in the system. He's getting you that quote. It's keeping the principal on your website and in the buying mode.
Right. So thanks, Taylor, for that. And what I would say there is that feature you're looking at now is our Surety Pro feature. And basically what that does, as you just saw, is allow agents and their customers to quote bonds directly, on the agent's website. And the reason we implemented this feature is basically so that agents, you literally only have to do the bare minimum amount of work to obtain a quote. With the Surety Pro, it's literally like your customer comes to you, hey, I need a bond. You just send them the URL to your site page. They can submit an application directly on your site, get the bond instantly quoted and issued in most cases. And, you don't have to lift a finger. So again, when evaluating partners to use, just ask yourself the question, how much work is involved with me issuing quotes for my customers? And are there people out there that, can cut that work down for me?
Absolutely. So those are some examples of different types of technology you want to look for in a partner and what they have to offer you. The other area that we recommend looking at is customer service. We know this is a huge area. So does your potential partner offer live underwriters who have the authority and knowledge to answer any questions that you have and help complete your bond applications? As an added bonus, I will recommend that you find out if not only can you reach out to the underwriters, but can your principal reach out to the underwriters as well? To Tim's point earlier, a lot of times with these higher limit bonds, it is going to require financials. So it is really helpful to connect the principal and our underwriters or any underwriters that would actually talk to them so that you're not having to, again, go back and forth and relay these information because, again, time is really where we lose the profitability in surety gems. Next up, this is one of Tim's favorite areas, I would assume, educational opportunities. Does your bond partner provide any learning opportunities? If you had a question about a specific bond type, Do they already have educational content available that they can send you immediately upon your request? Do they also offer any ongoing learning opportunities so that you can stay on top of the market? Really recommend looking for this in a partner.
Right. So, at Bond Exchange, we recognize that surety is certainly confusing. And more often than not, it's not the agents, one of their core lines of business. They get a bond request and then they, don't really know what to do. That's not to say because obviously our agents are very smart, but it's just, such a unique product line that it takes, me years just to understand it. And I'm still understanding it. So, at Bond Exchange, with that in mind, we have a vast library of content that basically just provides agents with the information needed to understand surety as a whole, as well as individual bond requirements. So, for example, if your customer comes to you needing a North Carolina auto dealer bond, for example, all you need to do is just go to our blog and type in the bond's name to access an article containing all the relevant information needed for that specific bond. And you can use these guides to talk knowledgeably to your customers about surety. If your customer comes to you and they get a sense that you don't really know what you're talking about with this product line, it's gonna come off poorly on anyone in that instance. So we really try to help you guys out with that. We have thousands of just easy to use guides for different bonds that you can use to literally look like a surety pro to your customers.
Absolutely. And Tim puts together that blog. So I know he's really proud of it and he does so much work on it. So we really appreciate it and our agents really make use of it. All right. Next point. This is what we're looking for in a partner. Access to competitive rates. Again, this is a huge area. To Tim's point earlier about the time spent shopping with carriers, we're going to recommend working with a broker who can do a lot of this legwork for you. So you want someone who's going to shop out your quote with various carriers without having to fill out and send multiple applications. Again, this is one of the biggest time sucks that eat at profitability. So this is the biggest reason to work with a broker, get the most competitive rates without having to individually shop it out. And again, look for a wholesaler because they're not competing with you for that business. All right, one more area to dive into, payment options. So when we are talking about payment options, we're actually discussing a few different things here. Specifically, when working with a wholesaler, you want to find out how they allow you to bill your customers. So do they allow direct bill, but do they also allow you to add agency fees on top of that? Another area you might want to look into is if they have any additional payment options available, such as the ability to pay as you go.
Right, that's my cue. So I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to mention Bond Exchange's new pay-as-you-go option for bonds. And yes, here comes the shameless self-promotion. But at Bond Exchange, we recently launched an option that allows surety bonds to be purchased on a monthly basis and be canceled at any time. The bond must be cancelable to be compliant with this. So, for example, probate bonds, they're not able to be part of this program. But I will say we're currently the only player in the game that offers this option to agents and their customers.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And I think maybe we have time for one more shameless plug.
There's always time for the shameless plugs. So so now that we have a basic understanding of why agents should deal in surety and that how they can profitably do so, let's take a look at a tool that is designed specifically to bring more surety business to agents. Our book builder tool promotes agents to insureds in need of a surety bond in their area. So our success is dependent on our agent success. So we actively market to insureds on behalf of our agents for the purpose of securing them more business. So with Book Builder, insureds can submit an application for a bond directly on our website and will be automatically paired with an agent in their area, who then gets a commission check and a free lead without having to lift a finger.
Absolutely. To Tim's point, he is putting out so much marketing content out there. We're getting a ton of traffic to our website. So we're really making sure that we use our marketing to turn around and give that business back to our agents because we are a wholesaler. So these tools are fantastic. You can find them on our website, find your bond, find an agent. Those are the tools we were just showing you. So another great example of how technology can make surety profitable. So that was a lot of information. I know surety really does cover such a broad berth of information. So we're going to stop here and figure out what questions we have. Let's see here. don't have too many questions. Anybody have anything that they want to ask? We have the head of marketing and an underwriter on the line. So they would be happy to answer any questions you have about what we discussed, as well as, anything from an underwriting perspective. Okay. Propeller bonds versus, how do we compare against propeller bonds? I'll start with Tim on this one.
Sure. So obviously never going to talk bad about another company. It's not how we operate a bond exchange. I would just say what really sets us apart from the entire industry and competition as a whole is just our customer service. We have phone, you can call us via phone, email, or chat, and someone's going to respond to you instantaneously. It's going to be a live underwriter. There's no hold times. The person you speak to is going to be a surety bond expert. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm calling in the company who then I go to a customer service rep who knows nothing about my policy. So they have to go up the line to different managers who each know nothing about my different policy until, I'm wasting 30 minutes just trying to get a hold of someone. That's not the case here. We really make a concerted effort just to hire the best people and really train them so that no matter what your unique bond type, you can just call in, speak to an expert immediately. You can chat and live time on our website. So I would just say, not even with Propeller in general, but just with the industry as a whole, it's really our customer service and our people that sets us apart.
Absolutely. And I will say, we have Benton, we pulled him from the floor today just to be on here to answer any questions for you, which is perfect because it looks like we have an underwriting question next. But that really is what sets us apart, is we have people like this who can answer your questions. We make them available to you at every step of the way. So Benton, we have a question here. When the information has been input, is the rate and premium shown the best price? I think it's asking, do we show all of the options, or are we just showing one price at the end?
So to be completely frank here, we have in-house authority with some carriers, like full in-house authority with some carriers, but not every carrier. So certainly we're going to put all the rates we can in our system so that most policies can be quoted instantly. However, there are cases where we do have opportunities to find a better market with a carrier who we don't know for certain whether the rate is going to be better or not, but we definitely explore other options. After that instant quote is provided, if we find that there is a market who can provide a better rate. Most of the time, it is going to be one of the better rates from our system, but there are a select few cases where we can use an external carrier. It can be a little more time consuming. It won't be as instantaneous, but we certainly do explore other options when they're available.
Yeah, to Benton's point, right? Every state and every type of bond really has a different appetite for a carrier. So we want to make sure that we are pairing that correctly. And we do a ton behind the scenes to make sure that that is being done to the best of our ability to figure out the most competitive market for that particular bond in that area. All right, I think that might be the end of the questions that we have here. So I'm gonna just take a couple of minutes. I wanna put this on the screen so that everybody has all of our contact information. This is the phone number for our underwriters. That is the email. We are available 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can reach us email, phone, or chat on our website. That chat option is also available on that Queasy app when you're filling out bond applications online. So you can literally always get an answer from us. So we are very excited to make Surety work for everybody, make it as profitable as we can, and we will see everybody on the next webinar. Thank you so much.
What I will say, Taylor, just real quick to everyone. So we will be sending you an email with a recording of the webinar, as well as a link to gain access to our platform. Feel free to share the recording as you wish. Also, I would encourage you to at least gain access to the platform. There's literally nothing to lose. We'll promote you to insureds in your area. There's no minimum premium, no commitment. We pretty much write everything surety related. If we can't do it, no one can. So I would encourage you to keep a lookout for our email, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Thank you. And thanks, Tim and Benton, for hopping on today.